My name's Chris Birchall. You might know me from my playing career, playing for teams such as Port Vale, Coventry City, LA Galaxy where I played with David Beckham, and Trinidad and Tobago. Now I'm taking up refereeing.
Well, Chris, you've had a pretty long and I would say illustrious career in football, and now you've decided to take up refereeing. Are you absolutely mad?
Yeah, some may say I'm mad, but it's always something that's intrigued me. I've seen the side of refereeing from a playing point of view. I'd like to now kind of adapt that and learn about refereeing, and if I do get the opportunity to progress, then I would love to do that.
Do you think when footballers are still in their careers, perhaps in their 30s, when they're starting to look at retirement, maybe that's a time that they could look into perhaps taking up refereeing?
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a good idea. Maybe there needs to be a collaboration between the FA, the PFA and the clubs to say that this is an option that we want ex-players to get into. We value your kind of experience in your playing career, and we feel like you can adapt that and bring help to the referees, because it's not a case of the referees are doing a bad job. It's not a case that ex-players will be better referees than the referees currently there. That's not the case. It's just bringing your experience of what you've learned to try and help and try and adapt and try and just tweak maybe some of the rules, give your opinion, and all work together to make the kind of refereeing system, the VAR system, a little bit better. Because at the moment, I think throughout the whole country, throughout the whole world, I think there's a lot of scrutiny on refereeing and VAR at the moment, especially in the Premier League.
You obviously have refereed your first match. Was that a bit strange for you as an ex-player, going out on the field for the first time, you know, as a referee? Yeah,
it's interesting as well for the formats as well, for the different age groups in the games that I'm doing.
It was Port Vale Academy, wasn't it?
Yeah, Port Vale Academy. So I did an under-10s game, knowing that there's a retreating rule, okay, at that age group. Get behind the halfway line to let the other team play. No offsides, all free kicks are direct. So all these little things that you weren't necessarily aware of when you were playing, that's the education side. So there's certain things in the course that, even though I was an ex-player for 20 years and certain kind of scenarios come up, is this an indirect free kick? Is this a direct free kick? What decision would you make there? And obviously I know it now because I've done it, but it'd be amazing to see how many of the players currently playing don't actually know all the kind of indirect and offsides and direct free kicks. What's the difference? So it was a learning curve for me, but something that I really want to progress into. But like I said, I have to be good enough at what I'm doing. I can't just expect to progress if I'm not very good at what I'm doing.
Because you're 39 now. I suppose that's quite late for most referees to get involved. Yeah. So realistically, what sort of level do you feel you could get to? I mean, obviously you played at a very high level, but in refereeing it's different, as you just said.
I'd just like to be given the opportunity, if I'm good enough, then to progress to the level of where I want to be. Obviously, I'd love to referee in kind of the Football League. But I have to kind of earn my stripes. Like, it's not just a case of, oh, he's an ex-footballer, let's stick him in at the Football League. I have to earn kind of grassroots and then progressing through courses and learn not just the physical kind of going out on the pitch, but the theory side of it as well. So this is the thing that all referees have to do. I would love the opportunity to, but like I say, if I'm good enough, then I'd like to progress, but I have to earn that.
Now, of course, Chris, back in the day, you were once a footballer, and a pretty good one, I think. And, you know, you played with David Beckham at LA Galaxy, for example. Just tell us a few anecdotes about playing with him and what that whole experience was like in America.
It came out the blue, really. I mean, LA Galaxy expressed their interest in me when I was at Brighton in League One. And really because the manager there had been the USA manager. I played for Trinidad and Tobago, played against them, played well against USA a good number of times. And then the interest came, and when it did come, that was where I wanted to be. Luckily for me, them opportunities don't come all the time, and I went over and spent a good kind of 3 years there. So I thoroughly enjoyed my time. David was there during that kind of LA Galaxy time for him, the American story. Thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, what a guy! I don't know anyone who says any negative things about David. He was out of this world with me. Even though I played with him towards the end of his career. Wow, what a player! And like I say, just a nice guy as well.
What was he like at training? I mean, obviously he was an ultra professional, wasn't he?
Like you say, he could pick you out from 40 yards without you even moving. So his passing ability, his crossing ability, just his whole kind of aura just made you want to perform better, because obviously you're playing in a team with David Beckham. You don't want to let anyone down, but you don't want to let him down. So I was lucky enough to play with him for 3 years, and just a model professional. And then seeing how he adapted kind of the media spotlight, just couldn't go anywhere without people following him, how he adapted all that and still went on the pitch and still kind of won the MLS Cup, which we did.
And what was he like off the field, just socially, when you were hanging out with him?
Oh, we had a bit of banter. Obviously, we're the only 2 English guys. He had this thing where he used to come into training every morning. He used to say, "All right, Mr. Perfect." He was just like, "Hang on, if there's anyone it should be called that, it'd be you." So yeah, we were the only 2 English guys. There's certain banter that you can have because you know the country, you've grown up knowing the same kind of things. And it was just nice to kind of have that kind of role model where I'd looked up to him all my life, and then I'd met him, and he was even nicer in person to me and my family, and I can't thank him enough for what he did for me over there. And kind of had no doubt once he finished his career, then he'd go off and be a success in whatever he's done, and it seems to be that.
And you've got a couple of nice mementos, you know, of your time with Bex, haven't you, back at home? You've got a nice shirt, and there's a lovely photo of you and him with a trophy. Yeah,
that was, the photo was straight after the MLS Cup. I think we'd lost it the season before in the final, and then we'd managed to win it. So, yeah, there's a nice picture at home of me and him with the cup. And then on my lad's wall in his bedroom, there's a signed kind of football top with a message, "Mr. Perfect, best wishes." So, yeah, he was that kind of thing he did all the time. He made a fuss of me and my family, and that was really nice. But yeah, them times I'll never forget in my career.
And of course, you played international football for Trinidad and Tobago. Could you just explain how that came about? And of course, you played in the 2006 World Cup against England. Yeah,
so that came up really. I always knew that my mum was born in Trinidad and Tobago. She made that very clear when I was growing up. So in the back of my mind, I always knew that I had that eligibility, but never did I kind of believe that it would kind of take the path that it did. I was just playing I think it was 19, playing for Port Vale first team. And one of the players for Wrexham, Dennis Lawrence, come up to me at the time and just said, "I've heard that you've got some Trinidad blood in you. We need to speak after the game." So, okay, all right. So we had that conversation, and I got asked to go over to a training camp because Leo Beenacker had just taken over as the head coach of Trinidad. He was the ex-Real Madrid Holland manager. And yeah, he wanted me part of the team. So cutting a long story short, really, I was straight in the team and working my socks off. And that kind of got us to the World Cup. We qualified when no one thought we'd qualify. We had to play a qualifier against Bahrain, which luckily I'd scored in the playoff, and then we went on to win that and get to the World Cup. And like you said, we got drawn in a group against England as well, so that was kind of ironic for me, but amazing. Looking back at the kind of the photos and watching the games again, lining up against the likes of kind of Beckham, Scholes, Rooney, Owen, Ferdinand. I mean, that squad was fantastic, but they didn't seem to kind of progress and perform how they should have, to which I did take the mick out of David a lot for that, because that team should have won the World Cup and they just didn't perform. But yeah, I mean, that then was the catalyst to the rest of my career, moving from Coventry and then inevitably to LA Galaxy after that 2006 World Cup. So that kind of started the pathway to my whole career.